Hampton is working with Hybrid Calisthenics. He is the head and the explicit person who works with Hybrid Calisthenics. Thank you very much, Hampton, for doing this with me. How are you?
I'm doing great, Abe. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you much, Hampton, for doing this with me. Right now, Hampton has around 339K followers on Instagram. He has 1.8 million subscribers on YouTube. That should tell you the story as to how much difference he's making in the world, in the lives of people with his work, with calisthenics, and with all the fitness regime that he has posted. In addition to this, he also has a couple of businesses that he does on the side, which works on apparels and all of that stuff. He has his whole fitness routine on his website. That's www.hybridcalisthenics.com/routine. He has all of his routine, all of his exercises, all of his visuals as to how you can progress through exercises to that. The important thing with Hampton is that he works on progressive calisthenics. That's what he
Yes.
focuses on. So wherever you are in a fitness regime, and I'm just picking out words from his videos right now, that's what I remember. Wherever you are in a fitness regime, you can progress to be the best in that particular area. And it's either it's pull-ups, push-ups, whatever it might be, you can progress in whatever state you are right now to getting the best at where you can be. So that's what Hampton does. That's what his thing is. That's what his motto is with his channel and with Hybrid Calisthenics. Uh, Anything that you'd like to add, Hampton, that I have missed out in your introduction?
No, no, Abe, you summarized everything very well. Indeed, I do believe something that was not intended to be a catchphrase or something that I
Yes.
would associate with my brand, but has become and stuck with a lot of people is everyone is on a fitness journey and we all start somewhere. So, and wherever
Exactly.
you are, however lost you are in this forest, in fitness or in life, all you need to find is the next right step. You just need to find the
Exactly.
right direction and start taking steps towards there. And that's all you need to do. You know, don't think about how far ahead everyone is or how far behind you are. You can start wherever you like. And the actual motto of hybrid calisthenics is cultivate long-term fitness. So
Yes.
we have a a fairly large community now, and a lot of people don't really want to practice with calisthenics. They like powerlifting or bodybuilding or
Yes.
whatever. And you know what? I or sometimes that crosses over with calisthenics, of course, but that's I call it hybrid calisthenics, but it's whatever you like to stay
Mhm.
healthy, fit, and strong. Whatever you like.
Yes. So just for subscribe, I know a lot of people, everyone would know about calisthenics. Just to start up, what is calisthenics?
Calisthenics is body weight exercise. So it's exercises you do with your body, the floor, gravity, and maybe a bar. So if you think like push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, squats, things like that, those are all body weight
Mhm.
exercises or calisthenics.
Okay. And why did you start out with calisthenics? There are a lot of bodybuilders and all that stuff. Why did you get into calisthenics specifically?
Okay, so this is a good question. I get asked this a lot. I've always been into fitness. I was always active in the sense.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, I was one of those kids where if you set me down, I'd be running off. And so, so you got to keep a close eye
Yes.
on me because I was
Mhm.
very active. Um,
Mhm.
and certainly in grade school and things, I pr- I naturally skew. I like playing during
Mhm.
recess. I didn't play in high school sports, but I enjoyed playing sports. I
Mhm.
like doing things. Um, but certainly, as you age, um, people were more and more into weight training and going to the gym,
Yes.
and that was
Yes.
just not something that ever I really wanted to do. My friends went there, and I was like, oh, I like fitness. I went to the gym a couple times, I ran on a treadmill. It didn't really
Mhm.
stick with me. It didn't really stick
Okay.
with me. And around age 17, I started doing. I'd work full time at age 17, and I would work about 10, 12 hours a day, and I would
Okay.
come home and I'd watch TV. And we used
Mhm.
Hulu at the time with my family, and
Okay.
Hulu had for the hour-long programs, I think every 15 minutes there would be
Mhm.
like a 3-minute commercial break. Every commercial break, I started doing 25 push-ups. I was
Okay.
always into fitness, but this is when the first time I really ever had like some sort of exercise plan. And
Yes.
there were 4 commercial breaks, and I would do 25 push-ups each commercial break, and I felt like I was energized and get a lot of push-ups done that way. And I would do
Great.
100 push-ups a day that way. Um, I did that for a few years, and I decided I wanted a balanced routine. It just really
Mhm.
appealed to me that I didn't have to go to the gym,
Mhm.
because I can be a very social person, but when I want to work
Yes.
on myself, I've noticed that I like to be by myself. So I just like
Okay.
the idea of exercising by myself, just going out into my backyard. it really appealed to me. So it's not.
Okay.
So it wasn't a sense of calisthenics supremacy of like this is the best thing in the world. This is
Mm-hmm.
the only way to get strong. I know some people will argue that.
Yes.
That's not. It's not really what I do. It's just what appealed to me. It's just like all.
Right.
And I also like the greater message of it. Like, why is it called hybrid calisthenics? Even though I talk about other forms of fitness. Well,
Yes.
I like the message that in order just to be healthy, fit, and strong, which is what a lot of people want.
Mm-hmm.
I think some fitness trainers on their own journey, they some, not all, they may forget that not everyone wants to be like they do. Some of them want to be incredibly muscular and incredibly
Exactly.
shredded, and that's cool. I have great respect for them, but I think sometimes they forget that not everyone wants that. I think a lot of people just want to be healthy, fit, and strong, and you can
Mm-hmm.
achieve that with calisthenics. So I like the message that you have the power to change yourself already in yourself. You don't have to buy anything.
Yes, that's actually correct. That's actually true that you can the surroundings with you and you can just work on yourself with the surroundings that's there, right?
Yeah,
That's,
absolutely.
that's true. What I wanted to ask is that exercise or the body is a lot connected to the mind also, right? So
Yes.
you also talk a lot about philosophy and all of that stuff. And I watched some of your TikTok short videos or some of your
Right.
reels, and you also talk about bite-sized philosophical things. Can you talk a bit about the mind-body connection that goes into exercise that people miss?
I think that elements of fitness don't exist in isolation. They don't exist in a vacuum. So if you are physically fit,
Mm-hmm.
but you have some mental issues, or you have some emotional issues, and your psychology and your reasoning for wanting to pursue fitness is not the best, you will eventually run into some issues, I think. Like you see
Yes.
this a lot with, I want to say a lot, but you see it with some bodybuilders who look
Yes.
very fit, they're very muscular,
Mm-hmm.
they're very shredded, but if they develop that from a place of insecurity and fear, to where
Mm-hmm.
their entire reasoning for wanting to get better was because they were afraid of other people, or other people laughing at them, other things.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people will say, some people, whenever I bring this up, they say, well, that motivated me a lot.
Yes.
I get it can be a powerful motivator, but sometimes I just want to say it can lead to issues. And because it's motivated by fear, sometimes they have things like body dysmorphia, to where they think, well, I'm never muscular enough, I'm never big enough, even
Mm-hmm.
though they're like the biggest person I've ever seen. There's some people
Yes.
who I stand next to them, I look like a twig because they're like three times the size of me. Well, they are, and then they're like, well, I'm never big enough, I'm never strong enough, I can't lift
Mm-hmm.
enough weights. So having the right motivations, among other things, mental
Mm-hmm.
health is a huge topic, but
Yes.
among other things, having the right motivations and the right inspiration and the goals that you want to work towards
Mm-hmm.
because you're doing fitness, I think is very, very important. So I'll summarize by saying shame and insecurity can be
Okay.
very powerful motivators. They're not necessarily the most healthy ones,
Okay.
because there's kind of an idea that surprises some people but makes
Mm-hmm.
sense when you think about it, that you can love yourself right now. You can love
Yes.
yourself and push yourself at the same time. Like when I say you can be happy now, people say no, I don't want to be happy because I don't want to be content with, I don't want to be, I don't want to stagnate. Like if I
Mm-hmm.
say that I know I'm in this car right now but I'm not happy with it, I want a Ferrari, I want a Lamborghini, I want something more. Okay, I don't think you need that kind of push to be unhappy to
Mm-hmm.
make progress. You can love yourself and push yourself at the same time. Being happy and content does not stagnate your progress, in my opinion.
Okay. That's actually correct. You have to love yourself and come from a place where you want to build yourself up and not from a place of insecurity. That's a correct way to
Right,
put it, I guess.
right,
Insecurity. And that's
right.
a good. Now, can you talk to me about the mind muscle connection that you were going to talk about? What is that? And how do people build that?
The concept has been around for decades, but I feel like it's really been pushed a lot more in the few decades, because I remember
Yes.
someone, when I was a kid, someone telling me about the study, and back then he was presenting it as controversial. And there
Okay.
was a study where people were lifting weights, and on one arm they were just doing it, and on the second arm they were really focusing on the muscle that was being flexed. They were really feeling it as it went down,
Yes.
um, and the muscle where they focus on the exercise grew
Mm-hmm.
stronger and more muscular. Now, if you want the details of that, please go look it up. Please go look. I don't
Yes.
have the studies in front of me right now,
Right.
obviously,
Right. Right.
but yeah, mind muscle connection. So, if you want a simple summary for it, when you're doing the exercise, do some research on what muscles that exercise is using. For example, push-ups might work your pectorals, your
Hmm.
triceps, try to get your shoulders and everything. Feel the muscles that are being flexed and being contracted, and then actually feel that while you're doing the movement,
Okay.
especially on the way down. So when you're pushing up, when you're pushing up, everyone will do that. But on the way down, some people will just drop. They'll kind of drop into it.
Yes.
Try to keep it. Try to maintain that tension there, and you can feel the muscle lengthening and contracting. And over time, you will just have better control over your muscles,
Right.
and
And
you'll
that's
probably be stronger.
so. As you know, you've always been doing this calisthenics, and you were also into exercise a lot. Why? When did you think about putting out these videos, these YouTube videos, or Instagram or TikTok, whatever social media? When did you start making this, and what was the motivation to do all of that stuff?
Okay, so questions like this, and obviously this is something I get asked a lot. It makes me glad that I started doing these interviews and
Yes.
podcasts early on, because
Hmm.
I think back now and I like my original motivations, and my answer now might be different than when you asked me a year ago. But what
Okay.
really, because so I'm glad I documented it, so I remember what I was thinking back then, because that's
Okay.
probably closer to the truth.
Okay.
Back then, um, I was really into calisthenics, progressive calisthenics. I
Yes.
read a book. I read a book called Convict Conditioning when I was studying
What
abroad
was
in
the name of that
Germany.
book again?
It's called Convict Conditioning.
Convict.
Convict like a prison, like a prisoner.
Yes.
Convict
Convict.
Conditioning,
Yeah.
and it's
Hmm.
written by Paul Wade. Okay,
Paul Wade. Okay.
um, now some people, there's some controversy about like the book and the effectiveness of it, but the exercises in there really appeal to me. And the reason why I looked it up was because my friends were reading it, and I was like, oh, this is what I need for a balanced calisthenics routine. Because I always knew it was wrong that I was just doing push-ups. I wanted to do some other exercises to balance
Okay.
out and have a full body routine. So when I was in Germany, I was faced with a problem that was relatively new to me, which was um, I had my phone with me, I had my laptop with me, but when I went out into public and I was eating at restaurants, this is in 2016, 2015.
Okay. Uh-huh.
When I was eating at restaurants, I didn't have unlimited internet data. In fact, I had to pay, I think, like per gigabyte, um,
Yes.
or
Mhm.
like per 100 megabytes. And uh, so
Yes.
I like when I was eating, where I usually just scroll through Facebook or social media, I was like, well, this is taking a while. This is going to be very expensive. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
downloaded. So I downloaded some PDFs, and one of these was convict conditioning, and that's when I started reading about progressive calisthenics. And when I
Right.
read it, it's made for athletes who want to be, they use the term superhuman a lot, but if you're human, then
Okay.
it's not
Okay.
superhuman strength. But I mean,
Yes.
so it's what people who want to get very, very strong. But what really appealed to me was Paul Wade. Um, the exercise he was talking about on the harder end were very, very hard. You're talking like one arm handstand push-ups, which
Okay.
very few people can do. Um,
Yes.
but on the easy end, there was like wall push-ups, and
Yeah.
one of the things that appealed to me was, well, I want to get my mom on this stuff. I want, I want to get,
Yes.
people I care about on this stuff, because in the past it was always like push-ups, squats, and things were too hard and they didn't want to
Hmm.
do them. But this is
Right.
something, an easy, accessible way for them to get started. And I was really happy about that. So that's what really that's what clicked with me. That's kind of
Hmm.
the catalyst for when I started blabbing about calisthenics to anybody who would ask.
Hmm.
And then I'm gonna skip a few stages, and
Yeah.
because
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yes.
the
Yes.
story can get really long.
Yeah.
But eventually, it got to the point where someone said that you can start a blog, and then you can write blogs, and then you can make some money on the side from
Hmm.
ads or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's really when I first started the idea of charting down my blabbing about
Mm.
calisthenics, because I wanted to pick a passion. I was like, well, I'm really into calisthenics and bodyweight exercise, um, and that's really when I first formed the name hybrid
Hybrid test.
calisthenics.
Okay.
Yes, hybrid meaning we use different disciplines. And it's
Right.
like a blend of old school and new school calisthenics. But again, it's also calisthenics and yoga, calisthenics and bodybuilding, calisthenics and strongman training. So that's the
Understood.
hybrid part of calisthenics. I
Okay.
and a few things happened in my life to where some
Hmm.
family members got sick, and I
Okay.
was taking care of them. And I had finished college, but
Okay.
because I had to take care of this family member, my mom,
Okay.
24/7 at the time,
Okay.
and my family needed some money, which is the thing.
Right.
I was trying to, um, I was trying to work from home. I did some web design, some graphic
Mm-hmm.
design, but it's like at the time I was listening to videos where they were talking about starting a business from home, and one of the things they're talking about was content. So I was like, well, what if instead of writing articles, I could just do videos,
Mm-hmm.
which appealed to me anyway because I can talk for a while. I don't really have a
Yes.
lot. I don't have a lot of inhibition on camera. I don't feel
Mm-hmm.
nervous when it turns on.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
that's really when I first started talking. Now again, we'll skip a few things, a few steps, but
Mm-hmm.
basically, I just turned on the camera and I started talking. A lot of the things that people know me for now, like the content being positive, or they say it's wholesome or
Mm-hmm.
encouraging a lot, I did not sit down and say, "Well, I want to make fitness, but I want to make it wholesome. I want to make it encouraging. I don't want to make it positive." I just turned on the camera and I started talking.
Mm-hmm.
So this was stuff that was very true to me, stuff that I've been thinking about for a while. Whenever I was inspired or I had a thought,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. I want to share this. That's really when I first started doing videos.